breaking herself into pieces she's never gonna get back. There goes the acrobat.
Juno winner Tenille Townes gets the full orchestral treatment next month with the Calgary Philharmonic. The singer-songwriter, born and raised in Grand Prairie, plays 2 shows, April 23rd and 25th at the Bella Concert Hall and the Jack Singer Concert Hall. And joining us from Nashville is Tenille Townes. Great to see you.
So great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, tell us about that song. It's called The Acrobat, and you've done it with Lori McKenna. She's a multiple Grammy winner, and I understand she's super well respected in songwriting circles.
She is, and she is my personal songwriting hero. I've looked up to Lori for a long time. I saw her play the Bluebird when I first moved to Nashville, and the fact that, 14 years later, I get to call her a friend and write songs with her and have this be the title track to the new album is a complete full circle moment for me. So I'm so excited this song's out there, and I can't wait to share more of this new album very soon.
What a thrill indeed. Now, as I mentioned, you're doing 2 shows with the Philharmonic here in Calgary. What's the whole process of taking your music and making it so an orchestra can play it too?
This has been the most incredible music experience so far I think I've ever been a part of. I'm in the middle right now of working with Dave Pierce, Calgary's very own, who is arranging this show, and just hearing the bounces of the demo process back and forth and closing my eyes and imagining all of those instruments coming together to create one moment all together at the same time. I literally can't wait for these shows. I've never done anything with an orchestra before, and just this is my first time experiencing this. So everyone who comes to the show will be experiencing it for the first time with me, and I can't wait.
Sounds wonderful. And you had mentioned that you've done stuff like this with a quartet before, a string quartet, but the full orchestra really is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, just that, there's something sacred with live music in general when any group of people come together and they're creating one moment, but I've never felt that moment be created with literally, 40 people on stage at the same time. That's insane to me. And there's a storytelling element that we're doing in this show that's unlike anything I've ever done. It's almost like we're creating a whole symphony. These songs will be connected to each other, and they'll be musical moments that will kind of be the bed that's underneath these stories that I'm going to share that were a part of writing these songs. So the arc of the whole show is something that's got this thread that weaves through it that every instrument is a part of building, and I'm so excited to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going to play, but I can imagine some of the songs that you might focus on, that you and Dave are working on right now. Let's have a listen to one of them. So that's Somebody's Daughter. How did that song come about for you, and how did it change your life?
Thanks for saying that. It really did change my life. That was the very first single that we put out, and this song was inspired by a drive that I took with my mom. We were going furniture shopping, and we saw this young girl standing on the side of the interstate holding on to a cardboard sign, and just kind of wondered what her story was and what might have happened in her life to bring her to that moment, and I couldn't quit thinking about her. And so I wrote about, just being able to see each other as fellow human beings and knowing that we all have a story that leads to those kind of moments in our life. And this song is it's been such a beautiful journey of hearing people's stories that it makes them think of, I'm missing my sister. She's somewhere out there on the streets right now. Or I went through this and I'm, a recovering addict that was once my story, and now I'm here. Hearing different stories like that through the years with this song just continually gives me goosebumps to witness people's courage in sharing that. So I can't wait to play that song with an entire orchestra.
All right, well, here's, again, I don't know what you're going to play, but here's a pretty good
I like
bet.
this game, though.
Here's a pretty good bet that this one will be played too.
Is a jersey on the wall in a high school gym in my hometown, in the corner by the scoreboard where the bleacher seats fold down.
That's a very moving song. It could apply to a lot of towns and cities in North America. It could apply, I think, to Humboldt, Saskatchewan, to Stavely, Alberta. What was your inspiration for it?
So I made a trip to Grand Manan, New Brunswick, and I met this amazing group of people in this tiny, small town. I think tragedy anywhere is something, but tragedy in a small town is something different. And this community had been through a car wreck with 5 students from the high school in the car, and one of which who was the valedictorian, the star basketball player, and she was taken in this fluke wreck. And so I kept in touch with this community, and I flew back for the high school graduation, and I saw Danielle's jersey hanging in memory on the wall and just thought about the questions I have for God. And I think it's okay to have those. I think there's healing in the conversation itself. And shortly after that trip, one of my best friends back at home in northern Alberta lost her little brother. And it kind of just put me in this place of spinning and more of those questions. And it breaks my heart. And it also heals it at the same time when people tell me stories about people in their life that they lost too soon, that this song makes them think about, because it just feels like we can take a moment and like honor them together and stand in our grief at the same time. And that is just, yeah, it's an honor to witness that kind of courage anytime someone shares that with me.
Is it ever difficult to finish the song, to sing the whole thing?
Often. Yeah, it's a very emotional thing. I'll get requests, through Instagram messages, or someone will come up to me in our VIP hang before the show and they'll tell me a story, and it's like I just really do my best to lift up that person in my heart when I'm singing it. And I have often felt very emotional in that moment, especially hearing people sing it too, and being able to see people's emotions on their faces as it's happening. And it's just like there's just something about music that kind of pushes past the walls that I think we kind of guard our hearts with a lot of times. And there's a lot of emotion that can come when you kind of let them fall for a second. And it's really brave to do that. So I really treasure those moments where we can do that with live music all together in the same space.
All right, let's lighten the mood a bit. Here's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Here's a collaboration you did a few years ago.
It's not your fault. It's just how I am.
Okay, explain, how did you end up doing a song with Bryan Adams?
I'm still shaking my head wondering how this actually happened, but it's a crazy story. I actually ran into Bryan on a staircase. He was in the lobby walking towards me, and I was about to leave this building, and there was a complete happenstance, run into each other, and I was like, be cool, this is Bryan Adams walking towards you, and I had no cool factor at all. I just thanked him for his music and, completely fangirled, and then I was waiting for the Uber in the parking lot after that, and I just kind of had this declare it to the sky moment where I was like, how cool would it be to sing a song with Bryan Adams one day? And I couldn't quit thinking about it. And so my band and I were in the studio the next week. We recorded a version of the song just for the Pipe Dream. And I recorded it, or I burnt it onto a CD. I wrote a letter by hand, and I laughed at myself at the FedEx counter, sending it to the physical address of where I'd run into him at, just hoping by some miracle he was still there and that he'd open this, envelope. And I think I paid Express. It was like the best $65 I've ever spent, because he got my note and chose to listen to the song, and I put my email at the bottom. And he sent me a note saying he'd love to sing on the song, and it's out in the world. And this is still insane to me that this happened, and he's just become such a mentor and a friend that I'm just grateful to get to navigate this music world with. So that was quite a wild experience.
And not only did he do the song with you, he directed the video?
He directed and shot the music video, and I got to spend time with him while we edited it together in Vegas at one of his shows, and just learning from him and how much work ethic he has, and how much he cares about every detail that's artistically a part of his vision. It was so inspiring to me to sit and learn from someone who really cares that much.
Tenille, I understand there's a road named after you in Grand Prairie. What's that like?
I still can't believe that's true either, to be honest. That is so wild to me. And it was just like the biggest hometown hug I could have ever imagined. I got to go back and play the arena in Grand Prairie, the one that I grew up singing "Oh Canada" at for all our local Storm hockey games for the years. That was like my first singing gig, and I did that for so long. And so to step back into that place and just like seeing everybody pack the place out was so surreal. And they did the street naming thing the same day of that show, which was just so emotional and wonderful. And that community has just always believed in this dream of mine with me. I feel like we've kind of been able to just go on the journey together. They've just supported my vision ever since I was a little kid singing at local events, and they've supported Big Hearts for Big Kids, a charity fundraiser concert that I do every year in Grand Prairie, and they just are such a big part of the story. So it meant a lot to feel their support back at home, for sure.
And speaking of when you were a little kid, I understand you got up on stage and sang with Shania Twain.
I did, yes. That was kind of one of those light the fire moments. And what's crazy is the 9-year-old version of me just totally believed it was going to happen. And I look at that now, and my mom was so sweet. She was trying to brace my heart, like, don't get your hopes up. Like, it's, an arena with 18,000 people. But I was like, Mom, I'm singing with Shania tonight. Like, I just kind of believed it. And so I had this sign that said, Shania, can I please sing with you? And my mom glue gunned me this costume to look like her Miami concert DVD I'd watched a million times. And I was just having the best day of my life at her concert. I was like singing every song at the top of my lungs. And by some miracle, the security guard like nudged me up towards the front of the stage where I could hold my sign. And she came around and grabbed my hand. And, we danced around this stage. It just still plays like a movie in my mind, standing next to my hero in the Rexall Center with 18,000 people. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so now it's my mission to keep paying that spirit forward, that dream forward. And we had a pretty surreal full circle moment getting to open for her on her last tour. We played the Edmonton Arena almost 20 years to the day opening for her. That was pretty wild.
Well, she does have a place just outside of Calgary now, so maybe she can join you at the Bella concert.
I mean, come on, twist my arm. That sounds like a great plan. I love this.
Okay, a couple quick questions before we go. What's the best gig you've ever played?
Oh, wow. What a great question. Honestly, I think that hometown show was pretty special. That was my first time getting to headline an arena, and I'll never forget that. I will say those quartet shows were very special too. We did one in Edmonton and one in Calgary, and those are special in my heart. Grand Ole Opry debut will always be special to me. Yeah, and also I played this one festival last summer. It was kind of a Jersey on the Wall moment where the town had just been through a really, really hard car accident, and I had no idea, but we started the song. We kind of thought the show was going to have to cancel from a storm, but it just started pouring rain, like as I sang the line, when the sky changes in a minute, and it was just like this gentle, like, it was like the sky was crying with this community. And then as soon as the song finished, the sky cleared, and we got to play the whole rest of the show, and that was an out-of-body thing. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it sounds like absolute magic. Of course, any career has highs and lows. So, what's the worst gig you've ever played?
Let me think about this. Wow, I don't think I've ever been asked this question. I did play a certain, it was like a promo show on a U.S. radio tour where we were like in the middle of a bullpen, like in the Dust Bowl. There were no bowls in there at the same time, thank God. But it was like the crowd was like very far away, and there was maybe like 11 of them, and it was just like this moment of like, I think we should just go play in the cafeteria. Like, we just kind of like moved the whole situation. So it ended up being a really fun adventure at the end of it, but it started out going, ooh, this is a tough one.
Well, you know what? Your shows in Calgary in April won't be anything like that.
Thank goodness. Yeah, we're making strides. I can't wait for these Calgary shows. I have this feeling they're going to be among my favorite musical experiences of my life. I really do believe that. I think my answer to your first question of the best gig is maybe about to be one of these two shows coming up in April. I can't wait.
Oh, looking forward to it. Hey, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for sharing these stories. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. And Tenille Townes performs 2 shows with the Calgary Philharmonic, April 23rd at the Bella Concert Hall and April 25th at the Jack Singer Concert Hall.